Members of council are present. I'll ask everyone to please stand for the prayer and the national anthem. Attendu que le Canada est fondé sur des principes qui reconnaissent la suprématie de Dieu et la primauté du droit, prenons un moment de réflexion personnelle. Whereas Canada is founded upon principles that recognize the supremacy of God and the rule of law, let us take a moment of personal reflection. Merci tout le monde. Thank you, everyone. Item 4, additions, deletions, or amendments. Under item 18B, for myself, snow clearing on roads. Anything else for members of council to be added? Conseiller Township, Conseiller Brisson.
13C, library strat plan. Presentation.
Strat plan. Okay, Conseiller Brisson.
Fundraising for the Limoges Recreation Committee.
Okay.
Limoges 50/50.
Limoges 50/50. Ok, d'autres thèmes? Non, c'est tout. Okay.
I can't, I
Yeah.
don't know a lot about them, but I can go.
Ok, pour Conseiller Lorraine. Réserve. Conseiller Brisson.
December 1st to the drive.
December 1st. Food drive. Okay. Huh?
Parades.
The parades. Item G, Christmas parades. Okay. Motion to approve the agenda as amended. I need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councilor Banoski, seconded by Conseiller Buisson. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carried. Item 6, disclosure of pecuniary interest. I see none. Item 7, adoption of minutes. Regular council minutes from November 4th, 2019. Motion to approve the following minutes as presented. Need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councilor Saucier, seconded by Conseiller Lorraine. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carried. Item 8, presentations, we have none. Item 9, delegations, we have none. Item 10, consent items. Motion that all items listed under consent items be received as presented. Item A, the minutes of the Limoges Citizens Committee from October 8th, 2019. And item B, minutes of the United Counties of Prescott-Russell, September 25th, 2019. Need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Conseiller Brisson, seconded by Councilor Tanoski. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carried. Item 11, reports from departments. Item A, Local Flavors Rendez-Vous 2019 edition. The council receives report EcoDead 08-2019 dated November 18, 2019 for information regarding the Local Flavors Rendez-Vous event. Monsieur le Duc, Madame Tremblay.
Bonsoir, membre du Conseil. Donc, comme à tous les années, on prend le temps de récapituler un petit peu ce qui s'est passé durant l'événement de la soirée. Donc, comme vous le savez, on a tenu la 4e édition du Rendez-Vous des saveurs locales, qui a été un succès encore cette année. On a eu 21 kiosques qui ont participé, qui ont servi de la nourriture, du vin et de la bière, qui étaient présents pour l'événement. Donc, durant la soirée, il y a eu à peu près 400 personnes qui ont participé à l'événement pour justement déguster, qui ont été rassemblées, qui ont découvert des entreprises locales et régionales. Donc, lors de l'événement, nous avons vendu des jetons qui permettaient aux gens de déguster les produits qui étaient offerts. The sale of tokens and money raised through the sale of products allowed us to accumulate a total of $9,892. Vendors serving foods were repaid 70% of their sales, and those serving alcohols were repaid 50% as usually for the sales of their alcohol. Puisque le montant remis ce soir au cadet de l'air, Escadron 5, est demeuré une surprise jusqu'à maintenant, j'inviterai les gens qui sont ici ce soir pour recevoir le chèque qui sera remis par la municipalité et aussi par un de nos commanditaires. Donc, j'inviterai les gens ce soir qui sont ici à venir à l'avant pour recevoir le chèque. Donc, j'aimerais accueillir des cadets de l'air Escadron 5, Mme Lisette Dufault, vice-présidente, Mathieu McDonald, je ne sais pas si c'est arrivé, qui est président, la capitaine Martel et l'adjudant de 2e classe, M. Sheridan. Donc, je voudrais vous inviter à vous avancer ici à l'avant. On a aussi ce soir qui participe à l'événement RBC, donc Mme Stéphanie La Jeunesse, avec le programme de participation communautaire de la RBC qui est avec nous ce soir, donc qui pourrait venir aussi à l'avant, peut-être ici, je ne sais pas, avec les caméras aussi, vous allez, peut-être juste sur le côté ici. Donc, nous aimerions aussi prendre le temps de remercier tous nos commanditaires sans qui ce montant qui est remis là ce soir serait impossible. Donc, on aimerait remercier nos commanditaires corporate sponsors. Donc, nous avions Bertrand Plumbing Heating de Sicogibo, Platinum, où nous avions Frigid Rentals, GFL Environnemental, Royal Bank of Canada, les commanditaires Gold, Russell Lion Clubs, Saka Homes, Russell Trail, Robert Excavating, Lily Party Rental, Kibi Media, Oligogo, 417 Busline, et nos commanditaires Silver, Lexine Ménard Photographie, Impression et ME Production. With all that being said, we are proud to announce that the Township of Russell raised an amount of $8,099.36 to be given to the 5 Cyclone Air Cadet, and RBC will also be donating $1,000 with their community involvement program. Therefore, we're proud to announce that the grand total given to the 5 Cyclone Cadet, is a total of $9,099.36.
Merci beaucoup.
Oh, plaisir.
Wow.
Parce que dans l'air de vous, il a dit la fiche salle de bain, c'est pas l'endroit. C'est moi qu'on peut se parler.
Encore?
Ah oui.
Le grand va être
C'est ça. Parfait, voilà.
On cache tout.
Je pourrais inviter Mme Stéphanie La Jeunesse de RBC aussi de remettre le chèque de 1 000 $, dans le programme de...
Ah, toi, tu vas
Oui,
Oui.
Je pensais que vous pensiez de cacher votre salle de bain. Merci beaucoup. Merci.
Peut-être avec les membres du conseil. Peut-être que j'inviterai les autres membres du conseil aussi à venir prendre une photo avec les cyclones.
Un gros merci. Très apprécié. Merci, moi.
C'est donc pour ça.
De la part de la municipalité, c'est notre plaisir d'être capable de présenter ce beau montant à l'organisation. I know that the organization is one that's very well received in the community, and the kids that attend that love that program. So thank you very much for putting that out in our community.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Alors, Madame Tremblay, là, on va procéder au rapport comme tel.
J'aimerais aussi peut-être juste profiter aussi de l'occasion des autres départements qui nous aident à réaliser cet événement-là durant le moment critique. On a souvent d'autres départements qui nous assistent, puis au support des membres du Conseil aussi qui sont présents lors de l'événement.
Aller manger puis boire, c'est pas vraiment difficile à
C'est pas trop
faire.
Donc, j'aimerais juste continuer au niveau du rapport, donc les informations qui ont été présentées. Donc, la première année, nous avions ramassé 5 181 pour la Banque alimentaire des bons voisins. La deuxième année, nous avons ramassé 7 546 pour Victoria School Canada. Et l'an dernier, nous avions ramassé un montant de 7 874 pour les Amis de la Vie. Donc, on augmente le montant qui est accumulé à toutes les années au niveau des programmes. J'aimerais mentionner que cette année, nous avions beaucoup plus de commanditaires aussi, qui fait que même s'il y a moins de personnes qui se sont présentées à l'événement, nos commanditaires nous ont beaucoup aidés à être capables de donner ce montant-là mentionné aujourd'hui. Par ailleurs, nous aimerions aussi présenter au Conseil les enjeux que nous rencontrons lors de l'organisation du Rendez-Vous des saveurs locales, afin de considérer de tenir l'option de l'événement à tous les 2 années comparativement à tous les années, comme c'est fait depuis les 4 dernières années. Donc, les challenges que je pourrais dire au niveau du moment où on organise cet événement-là, c'est qu'initialement, l'événement était fait pour soutenir les entreprises locales. Comme vous avez pu voir, au cours des années, même si on a 21 kiosques, cette année, il y en avait 9 qui étaient des entreprises locales et les autres étaient des entreprises qui venaient de la région, donc d'Orléans et d'un petit peu partout autour des comtés unis de Prescott-Russell. Donc, de plus en plus difficile aussi d'avoir des entreprises qui participent dû au manque de main-d'œuvre, du temps de préparation. Donc, vous savez que les gens qui servent la nourriture would say that it takes about 1 to 2 days for them to prepare the food to be able to be ready for the event. So it's more and more complicated for them to be ready on time and to make sure that they have enough food for the event. For the community attendance, so have you seen in the report, there's a reduction in the people that buy their tickets in advance and the people that are attending the event. So in 2016, we had 480 people attending. 2017, we had 600. 2018, we had 450. And this year, 400. I even spoke with people that were attending the event and were telling us that it would be the last time because it's repetitive. So it's either that we're changing the format or we're changing the way that we're doing it because people feel that it's repetitive. Donc, ce qu'on suggère, c'est de faire le rendez-vous des saveurs locales à tous les 2 ans et dans les années où on ne ferait pas le rendez-vous des saveurs locales, on préparerait un événement qui pourrait se desservir un autre type d'entreprise. Présentement, on focus sur la bière, la bouffe. Ce qu'on suggère, c'est de peut-être faire un événement où on pourrait attirer des entreprises locales qui sont des entreprises à la maison, des entreprises qui ont moins de visibilité, ou des événements, par exemple, qui pourraient aider aux gens à recruter de la main-d'œuvre. Donc, de spécialiser plus l'événement au niveau d'un autre genre d'entreprise, d'un autre secteur de commerce. Donc, à tous les années, on ferait le rendez-vous des saveurs locales, mais dans les années alternatives, on ferait un événement qui couvrait un autre type d'entreprise que de ceux qui produisent la bière ou de la bouffe. D'autres challenges aussi au niveau de l'événement qu'on a pu remarquer, c'est au niveau du montant d'assurance qui est requis au niveau par les courtiers de la municipalité, qui excède souvent le montant de la couverture des entreprises. Donc, en ce moment, on demande une couverture de 2 millions pour les gens qui servent de la bouffe et 5 millions pour les gens qui servent de la boisson. Donc, c'est quelque chose aussi que souvent, quand on demande aux commerçants de venir assister à l'événement, c'est un challenge pour eux parce qu'ils n'ont pas déjà cette assurance-là. Donc, il faut qu'ils prennent un premium au-delà de leur assurance pour être capables de participer à notre événement. Les entreprises ne peuvent pas vendre le produit alcoolisé. Donc, si, par exemple, un verger, par exemple, produit un cidre de pomme, il ne peut pas vendre. Donc, pour eux qui est un petit peu plus loin, par exemple, les 2 ans passés, on avait quelqu'un de Hammond. Puis pour lui, le fait qu'il ne pouvait pas vendre ses produits cette soirée-là, il se disait pourquoi j'irais quand les gens ne viendront pas à Hammond chercher quelque chose qu'ils ont goûté chez eux. Donc, ça, c'est quelque chose aussi qu'on voudrait éventuellement regarder au niveau de notre licence, de comment on pourrait accommoder those producers that would be able to sell at the night of the event. The health unit is becoming more and more demanding towards the requirements of companies serving food. So we're seeing a lot of, once the inspector comes, it's harder for the businesses to meet the requirement of health unit. It's sometimes surprised that we don't even know, sometimes that they're requiring stuff that we didn't even, we're not aware, and it's a new requirement from the previous year. So it's really hard for businesses to adjust. And sometimes we have smaller companies that would say we're not attending because we can't meet the health unit standard. So those are considerations that we need to work on, and if producing this every second year would help us to overcome those challenges and maybe have more businesses attending every second year. So we would like council to consider this option.
Okay, merci. Question? Councillor Associated and Councillor Tarnowski?
Well, first of all, I want to congratulate you on the event because I've been every year and I think it gets better every year. And, you know, I'm surprised the numbers were down a little bit because it was so busy when I was there. But I do like the every second year idea. You know, I've talked to other people and then they said they thought people would look forward to it. Or, you know, they'd be excited. So it was like, so you know, it'd be saying, oh, it's next year, you know, and instead of that. And I know it's a lot of work for both of you when you're preparing it. So I think that's a really good idea. And, you know, I know it's really frustrating with the health unit because it's affecting everybody, like the Living Locally Fair, you know, we can't serve soup anymore and things like that. So it's very frustrating, and I'm concerned about church suppers and things like that, you know, like where's it gonna end? But I think that would be a really good suggestion is, and then, you know, you could even stretch out location on bringing people in. I think it's unfortunate that they can't sell their products at the event, you know, because other events you go to, like markets, where they're selling wine and ciders, you can purchase it. So what is the reasoning behind that?
I believe it's because it's under our liquor license. Then we need to purchase the alcohol if they don't produce it, so it falls under the township responsibility. So we would need to probably, if we wanted to allow that, get a license just specific for that event.
Right.
So it's something that we would have to seek information and to see how to proceed.
But it was a great event, so congratulations.
Thanks.
Councillor Tarnowski?
I just have a few questions. What was the cost to the township? The event? Like after everything said and done?
So the total cost for us was $8,880.
So that's the net cost, right?
Yeah.
Not including staff.
Not including staff time and not including the rental of the room, which is free. So
So that cost, though, you know what I mean, say net, like we raised funds. So we raised funds, we gave away the funds, and it still cost us, or the taxpayers, $8,800.
it doesn't cost anything to the
Okay, that's my
taxpayer.
point.
Yeah.
Okay, so it doesn't cost us
No.
anything, except for time, which is not really allocated, it's tap time.
Because we have sponsorships as well.
So we don't, It doesn't cost the township anything.
So it doesn't cost us
No.
anything except for your time and your staff
Yeah.
time is not allocated?
No,
Okay. So it doesn't cost us anything?
no.
And have we surveyed the participants, the kiosks themselves? Because like you're telling us about the issues, so have we actually done a formal survey?
So we didn't, and we've talked about it, that this is something that we wanna do and make sure that, what I can say right now is that the people that didn't come from last year to this year, the main reason is that they have the same event, same type of event a couple of weeks prior, and they don't have enough staff to attend. So let's say Bose, for example, is one that usually comes, and this year they didn't come because of that reason. So, for example, Etienne Brûlé doesn't come because he doesn't feel that it's something for him, because people end up at his restaurant and at the Etienne Brûlé at the end of the night, and he doesn't have staff to be able to run both places at the same time.
Okay.
So those are mainly the reason when we ask why they're not coming, it's probably staff, mostly staff issue.
Okay. And so the 21 kiosks that we had this year is down from how many last year?
It's the same amount.
Oh,
We
it's the
had
same
21 last year as
So
well.
we're still able to fill with
Yeah.
the kiosks. Okay, so it doesn't cost us anything. We raised a whack of money for a good local organization, and it's got a few headaches. So I would hope that we don't do it every second year. I hope we do it every year. Having said that, I understand, because that's part of in the hospitality where I teach. Organizing events and everything is a lot of work. So I would venture to say that there is certainly enough money, not to say that, I'm venturing that they would have been maybe not as happy to get 5,000 instead of 9,000. But if we had to pay someone, there is certainly some room there to pay for an organization to do all the organizing of this event. And I think it would be good. From the people, I unfortunately couldn't go this year. I was a big fan last year. I wanted it twice a year. And so when I read once every 2 years, once I read every 2 years, I was really disappointed, because we have that space that's not utilized as much as it could be. It's a great community, opportunity for community people to get together. The older people at the beginning, the younger people at the end. I know my son went with a lot of friends and they loved it. And I would hate it for us to only do it every second year. So I would support anything that allows us to support local organizations and still have it every year. But I still think twice a year would be better.
Thank you, Councillor. Madame Tremblay?
And I appreciate that you recognize that it's a lot of staff time, and then I don't think at this point it's not an issue. It's a lot of time consuming, and we don't mind doing it because we've been running it for 4 years, and as a fifth year wouldn't hurt. It's just to get those vendors to come and to run after the vendors, to get the insurance, it's everything last minute, and it's a hard work to get those people to commit to come at the event. So this is one of the main concerns, is that, let's say if we keep doing it every year, then next year we don't find 21. We're 19 or 18, and that's the risk of what we're running into. And even if it would be somebody else organizing it, we're seeking businesses from pretty much everywhere, doing beer, producing beer and food, and we even went to many restaurants ourselves to ask the owner if they wanted to come and participate, because we were kind of desperate. Before the last week, we had 18, and we found those extra to get to the 21, because that was our goal, to get the same number of vendors as the previous year. But that's the time consuming, and that's the commitment that we have a hard time right now, seeing that it's harder and harder every year to get those commitments of vendors of 21, if that's this goal set every year.
Merci beaucoup. Conseil Brisson, Madame Councillor Associée.
Moi, je pense un peu comme conseiller Ponowski, pas 2 fois par jour, 2 fois par année, mais que il faut se dire, c'est 400 personnes qui est venu, puis c'est un petit crowd, là. C'est de voir que c'est un événement qui attire beaucoup de monde aussi, qui donne une bonne activité. Je sais que c'est plein d'ouvrages, mais peut-être justement à considérer, si on dit comme Bose n'est pas venu parce que c'était plus à cause d'une autre activité à ce temps-là, est-ce que ça l'est à le changer le temps de l'année, le faire au printemps, le faire plus de bonne heure à l'automne, discuter avec ces vendeurs-là, de voir. Je sais que les assurances, c'est frustrant, mais je sais que la chose, est-ce qu'il y a une manière que la municipalité est capable de prendre que le commerce a moins d'assurance à avoir, voir comme d'où que s'il se fait ces autres activités-là, comment ça s'arrange, les assurances. Mais personnellement, comme on dit justement, avec le monde qu'il y avait là, puis ça fait une bonne chance comme de rencontrer ben du monde, un événement que chose. Est-ce que c'est aussi d'ajouter une coupe, d'avoir une coupe de kiosques de moins, de manger, puis avoir, qu'est-ce qu'elle disait, au lieu d'avoir tous 2 ans, que ça soit des commerces, que les petits commerces dedans incorporés avec ça, que quand que le monde est là pour aller prendre une chose là, que les autres soient là, c'est des suggestions qui pourraient être considérées peut-être.
Councillor Sosin and Councillor Larry.
Well, I was gonna suggest that as well, perhaps looking at the time of year, that Councillor Brissell mentioned, and then, but I know you had said also talking about a possible trade show as well, and I that's also a good idea to promote the local businesses. So then, you know, maybe flip-flop every second year with that, because, it would be a different, we used to do trade shows, I remember, and they were really, really popular and for the businesses, and we'd fill the whole arena as well. So it was just a good way to walk around and see, in a quieter atmosphere, to see all the businesses and talk to them and see what they're offering, you know, and it would support the local, especially our new businesses coming into the township. Thank you.
Councillor Larry.
Just to give you an idea of when we start in July. So if we do 2 events, we need to start in, So we start running after the vendors in July. So, and we mostly get them to agree on the week before and to get all the paperwork, and it's about, we've calculated today, it's about 800 exchanging emails. It's a lot of consuming time and this is not what I want members of council to remember, that we're complaining that it's too much work, because we love doing it. But I feel that it's really concentrating in one type of businesses, and we need to assist the other businesses, and by the amount of time that this is asking us, we can't help the other ones to showcase what they have. So I think by alternating every second year, then we do one that would, like I mentioned, showcase what they have to do, increase their visibility, and help them getting what they need from us. And the second year, then we could get the vendors. And I think it's time to revisit by the fact that we got those 21s. I wouldn't want to sell, let's say, 300 tickets in advance next year and only have 12 vendors, because people would be disappointed. So I think we should revisit the amount of time while we're ahead, and while it's like going to the Olympics. When you win the gold medal, maybe you should take a retirement for the next Olympics. So I think it's, right now we're on top of what we've done, and I think we should revisit either the concept and hold it every second year, to not disappoint people that would purchase tickets for next year.
Councillor Larry.
The question I have is, do you need a response tonight?
No.
So my preference would be to have a report come back to council with what your proposal is, your idea of trade show in year 1 and local flavors in year 2, what that would look like. So I hear you, understand the concept. I mean, you know, businesses are getting knocked on the door left, right, and center locally for all different events that are going on in the community, donations here, donations there. At the end of the day, they're going to stop answering the door. And if we keep going out and asking, and people aren't necessarily supporting them as locally as we would hope. So we want them to keep coming back, and if it's every other year for that type of an event and every other year for a trade show, then I'm more than willing to entertain that option. I wouldn't wanna pass a resolution tonight, giving you the, okay, let's put this aside now for 2 years, or till next year, whatever. I'd rather see a plan and approve a plan rather than just a concept, if that makes sense.
Quoi question? Conseiller Brisson?
Just a minute again. As I was saying, if we want to do a trade show, we have to remember that in the spring, there's with at the in Russell for the local
Janvier.
yeah,
It's
I think-
January. Yeah, January.
Yeah, January for buy locally. That is some small businesses that we don't want to, on va pas empiéter sur ce domaine-là aussi. I'm a bit skeptical, you have to prove me opposite, because we've done some trade show and there was not a good turnout either. That's why I did suggest maybe having the 2 events at the same time, having some local businesses at the same time, as there's booze and food that bring people there. That's why something to, possibility to look, but trying to keep it every year, that the people has kind of a routine, that they don't say, okay, are we there yet, or, so, but,
Okay, I'll add my 2 cents worth and then we'll move on to the next item. In regards to, I understand it can get repetitive. That's why we need to be able to evolve the event, move on to the next step, look at different options. I think there's organizations out there that do this for a living. As Councillor Tarnowski mentioned, there are people we could hire that could be bringing new perspectives. I understand staff worked very, very hard on this event, and congratulations, year after year, you've done a fantastic job. But this is not your everyday job, whereas people who specialize in this might be able to bring a different dynamic to it, that might be able to allow us to keep this going year after year, and would give the opportunity to staff to work on such an event as a trade show or highlighting a different type of event. So I would not want to see this disappear. I would like to see it move forward year after year, but again, as Councillor Ladin said, we can expect a report on what the possibilities are coming forward. And I think staff have got a good idea what council is looking for, and you're taking notes, so I look forward to having that discussion again. Okay. Conseiller Bisson?
puis encore, c'est, moi, ceux que j'ai entendu parler, c'était tout dire wow pour le travail que vous avez mis, la propreté aussi dedans, parce que, tu sais, les poubelles étaient toutes vidées à terre, ces choses-là, puis que le monde enjoyait. Fait que chapeau, l'ouvrage que vous avez mis dedans. C'était, tous ceux qui ont été, moi j'ai entendu juste des bons commentaires.
Merci beaucoup. Juste un point aussi, qu'il y avait bien du monde de l'extérieur que j'ai remarqué cette année. Il y avait bien du monde, j'ai vu du monde de Castlemine, Saint-Isidore, je l'ai vu même de Champlain, so c'était bon. Tourism is all about bringing exterior dollars into your municipality, so they spend it here. So that was nice to see that the word's getting out there and we have some traffic coming from elsewhere. So.
And if they go at Etienne de after, it's a plus for him too. They're already here.
Okay, move on to item B, bylaw assuming public highway report PD 124-2019. The council receives report PD 124-2019 dated November 18, 2019, and adopts the bylaw dedicating block 85 on plan 50M-334 as part of a public highway being Moisson Street in Embrun, and that the bylaw be registered on title. Questions, comments, members of council? Anything to add from the administration? No? Move on, item C, bylaw assuming public highway report PD 125-2019. Council receives report PD 125-2019 dated November 18, 2019. Adopts a bylaw dedicating part reserve block 135 on 50M-332, parts 1 and 2 on 50R-10911, PT Duncanville Street, plan 50M-332, part 3 on plan 50R-10911, Russell, part reserve block 136, plan 50M-332 on parts 4 and 5, 50R-10911, Russell, as part of a public highway being Duncanville Street and Twilight Avenue in the village of Russell, and that the bylaw be registered on title. Questions, comments, members of council? Anything to add? No? Move on. Item D, pay list for October 2019. The council receives a pay list for the month of October 2019. Questions, members of council? No.
Okay, this?
Pay list. Conseil Laurent?
I'm gonna ask the question, and maybe the question's already been asked about it, but is there a reason why the pay list is in section 11 rather than in section 10? And is it something that we can move into the consent items rather than to the reports section? I mean, I don't think there's been a question on the pay list in 8 years. And if there is,
Yeah.
if there is, then you ask to remove it from the consent
Consent
items, and
I'd be fine with that.
does
Members
that
of
make
council?
sense? It's just an administrative thing, but I just.
Madame Camille Laflamme?
Hello, Mr. Mayor, council members. In the procedural bylaw, we have not noted that the pay list would go in the consent items. We have consent items include, but not necessarily limited to, proclamations, routine matters, minutes from council committees and boards, and minutes from the counties.
So would not routine matters, pay list is monthly, would that not be considered a routine matter? Monsieur Leduc?
So, Madam Bonsoir, well, with a limited number of questions, you would consider it to be a routine matter, but I always have the privilege to pull it back and
Yeah.
say, I'd like to discuss this further.
So in the consent items, we have that option,
Yeah.
of just pulling it from the consent items and then having questions if need be, but Councilor Ray?
Didn't we put the community grants in there as well? So, I mean, not limited to,
Mhm.
it gives us, I think, that flexibility to add additional things in there that are outside of what
Mhm.
that is in there, so I'll
Yeah.
make that suggestion.
yeah, since it falls under routine matters, if we determine so, it would need a procedural bylaw change at this point in time,
No.
no? So we're okay putting it, in consent items for moving forward? Okay, we'll do that for now, thank you. Item E, new signs for the Village of Russell, report PIC 32-2019. Council receives report PIC 32-2019 dated November 4th, 2019, and approves as recommended in this report the funds for the proposed signs. Questions, comments, members of council? Councilor Tanoski?
First of all, I want to say I love it, fully support it. I just wanted to check what's our exposure as it relates to signs that are on private property.
Monsieur Leduc? Madame Tremblay?
Honestly, the report says it would need a contract to be drafted. It would depend on what the wording in the agreement would say about canceling the agreement. I've not seen that yet, it has not been prepared. We do have one for the Alvarez sign on the co-op property, so I guess we would reflect back to that argument and just copy it. But I would assume we would have some clauses there that would limit the availability of just canceling the contract. Throwing away this amount of money and the work that's involved here. And I guess that's your concern there.
So that or any, damage or anything like that relating to the sign
Yeah.
on the property?
I'll just share that with Mrs. Bordeaux and her team, who's working on this regarding your concern.
But I believe one or maybe even the second sign amendment as well is on private property.
Oh, don't say right away.
Giant title. It's within the right of way completely. I thought there was a portion that ended up having to be on the sign. But anyways, we can, we'll definitely
I
look at
fully
that.
support it, I just want to be sure that we've covered all the areas.
Councilor Larry?
Yeah, it says in here that they can't have been contemplating it. Is it something they've been fundraising for already?
Yes. Yeah, they have been fundraising for the past, I would say at least 6 months.
Okay. So I remember they're coming in that August and letting us know that that's what they were doing. So, I mean, I have no problem with it. I support it then, I support it now. Just said in here that they were contemplating, and I just wanted to reassure people that if they had already donated money in whatever type of events they were in, that the money was going towards this.
Yep. Perfect. Monsieur Brisson?
I know I did recommend this the last time we had the draft. It was just to see, especially now that it's just on the draft mode, if on top of the sign that we could have the club sign on it too. With
The social clubs?
the social club, instead of having it in the bush, like even in Russell, that it would be, as you arrive, you have Russell, and you have all the different club, King Club, Optimus Club, the Lion Club on top, too, that it will be eye-catching, too, that the people, whenever they arrive, they see those group that are working for this community, and it will be all at one place, like a central place. So that would be just something if they could.
I think it's a valid suggestion. I think that realistically, just if we had some kind of sign like that, just in the general area, it doesn't have to be attached to the sign itself. It could be something that's, 2 feet behind, a little bit higher than the sign, or wherever, but.
Yeah, but I'm just suggesting, since we're doing this one, if it could be considered too, maybe it doesn't cost much more to have it, and with the draft, with computer now, that they can just make it, instead of having something, since it could be add to that sign, if.
We can have the conversation with the King Club, Mr. Leduc.
We will, but I'm not too sure that was their intent.
Hmm.
But certainly we can just validate that you're concerned, and if that's something that's feasible. Although we are taking one of the signs that was at the industrial park, we're recycling that sign, so that there be some tweaking to it. But I'll ask the clubs, if not the clubs, but the King Club, if that's their intent.
Again, I mean, having a sign like that in the general vicinity might be, not necessarily part of the draft, part of the sign itself, but it could be something located in the general area. Simply, it could be added to the 2 existing emblem signs as well, something close by.
Yeah, it's just that we could take the example of Russell to put it in emblem with those, since we're in the design process right now. That's why I'm saying that personally, I think it would be the place.
You would like to see it as part of the sign?
It could be, because we're doing some new sign, even if we're adapting, or if it could be at the back, I don't know. That's why I'm saying, since they're in the drafting, it's easier to see what can be done right now before.
I think the administration can have that discussion with the King Club.
Ouais, c'est ça. Dans ce cas-ci, on met une image en plus. Je suis pas sûr que ça va vraiment fitter avec l'image qu'ils veulent avoir.
Mais c'est pour ça que.
Mais si pour préoccupation, c'est en brun, je sais que l'administration va rencontrer des gens, il y a peut-être 1 an et demi passé. Ils devaient nous revenir. Ils sont jamais revenus. On attend toujours, parce qu'on a les affiches sont déjà, les structures sont déjà montées. Mais du côté d'en brun, on n'a jamais eu personne qui a fait le suivi avec nous pour finaliser les choses. Donc, je ne l'ai pas mélangé les dossiers parce qu'en quelque part, ils sont différents.
Councillor Blair?
I think we're commingling 2 separate issues. I think one is the fact that the King Club are gonna design signs and have them put up in Russell, which is similar to what was done by the Optimist Club.
It's not yet.
Well, it wasn't the Optimist?
No,
Or
it's
was
just
it
a private.
Private group, okay, so the private group, so the Kings doing that one, private group here. So they're mirroring that situation. But I know in both communities, there are signs that have the social clubs on them. The question is, who owns those signs today? Is it us?
Monsieur Leduc?
So, Madam Conseil, well, I know they're asking us to replace them and paint them, so we have them made for Embrun. We're yet to wait for the location and who to put on them. So I think it's a township who puts it up. We've asked the clubs to provide us with their metal sign or whatever they were to provide to us.
Cause I know there's one as you come in from North Russell Road into Russell, on the right-hand side, as you come into Russell, just before the school. So if you wanna move that type of sign to one of the locations that the King Club are looking at, I'm all for that. I don't foresee,
Mixing the 2.
I can't foresee having all these different, club signs on the Welcome to Russell sign. I just can't see it. I mean, I look at the one in Emblem here, where on earth would you ever put all these other things around it? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. I think it needs to be a separate.
Entity.
That's why I'm saying, since they're with the computer draft, it will be the time to draft it before doing all the landscaping and everything, because with the computer, you can see it, whether you try it on the sign or having it on the side, But one suggestion is just that being just on height as they are in Russell, there's some that say it doesn't look good. And
As Monsieur Leduc said, those who say it doesn't look good can bring back a proposal to the
yeah, but
administration.
I know that I've seen a lot of village too, that it's part of the entrance of the town, that those signs are with the name of the town as you go in. That's why I'm just saying not to overlook at it. That's why I'm asking the King Club if they can just look at it, and since we're on the drawing before doing all landscaping or anything, if they had suggestion. And for the emblem group, I know that did fall through the crack right now. They were talking of meeting back, but that's
Conseiller associé and then conseiller Lorrain.
But I kind of feel like it would distract from the beauty of the sign, like they've done and I know they're collecting, Russell brick for the bottom too, and recycling brick that, so to have all the businesses all over that, and, you know, and just if I'm looking visually at the sign right now, I just think it would be best to be separate. And I know we'd also talked about the possibility of flags for the user groups, so I mean, that, you know, might also be
A possibility.
a possibility, so, yeah, I wouldn't wanna distract from the aesthetics of the sign.
Conseiller Lorrain and Councillor Tomasky.
Yeah, I'm just, at this point in time, I can't see any additional signage on that sign, or if you wanna put a standalone, and it doesn't have to be just a pipe, it could be a nice new structure to put the signs, and not as elaborate as we're doing in the industrial park. And I know that one's a massive sign, which is
Yeah.
great, but something smaller scale, and I've seen them with the two poles on each side, and you have a really nice thing, and it fits in with the community, and it's in the location where the actual community sign is.
But it's not part of.
But it's
Yeah.
not part of the actual sign. I think,
You're welcome.
you know, I think the sign that is being presented to council for support is a very beautiful sign. I like it the way it is. It matches the emblem type of finished product. I think we can all say, at least I'll say it, I think those two emblem signs have looked fantastic, and they do the job that they were meant to do, which is to inform the people as they come into the community. I think they're great. And it's about, you know, I'm happy that we're finally getting those in Russell as well, and I don't wanna distract from those signs. If you wanna put something up on the side of it or behind it or whatever in that same location, if we get an agreement with the owner of the land, and we get an extra 15 feet or 20 feet to put up a social club sign, I'm all for that. But in terms of this report, I am happy the way it is. I wouldn't want to change anything on it.
Thank you. Councillor Tomasky.
I think if I could just clarify, I think what Councillor Brisson was saying is that right now, the way it looks, it wouldn't make sense to add the signs to it. But because it's at a design stage, you could design it in there. Having said that, I'm totally in favor with the sign as presented, but maybe if the King Club is interested in looking at that option of looking to the other service clubs, if there is an interest to post and to put that into the design, I don't see the problem with that if they're long-term service clubs that have been around there for a long time. If it's designed into it, it could look very appealing, and I've seen it in many small towns where they have all the service clubs listed. But if not, it's not the end of the world either. I'm good either way, but I think that, you know, if the idea was good, the idea is good now at this stage. But it's a beautiful sign, and I love the color, so I'm good either way.
Thank you very much. So I think we seem to be more the case of just moving ahead as is. I think if council supports the project, most definitely. If King Club's here and present has heard the discussion, if you feel you should have a discussion internally as to possible options, you're more than willing to do that. If you feel that there's some possibility for changes, you can speak to our administration, but I feel that council at this point in time is fine with the design as is. Correct avec ça, Monsieur Leduc? Okay, move on to the next item. Item F, four-way stop intersection, report ISPW 18-2019. The council receives report ISPW 14-2019 dated November 18, 2019, and adopts a resolution as proposed in this report. Questions, comments, members of council? Councillor Janoski?
I just have a couple of questions to make sure I fully understand. So UPCR agrees to pay 50% of how much? So option one, it was I think 16K, so $8,000 would be paid by United Counties. Option two, I believe is 48K, so 24K. And then option three was 30K, so 15K. I just want to make sure that I understood that, because some of the wording was not 100% clear. In any case, I just want to say, add to that, is that we didn't budget for this, so I'm okay in going up to about 80K, but otherwise, I would be looking for where do we take that money from, if we're gonna go about that.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Bourgon, we haven't budgeted, the UCPR hasn't budgeted this amount either. So if we were to say we would want half, at the UCPR level, it's not in their budget, so it would most likely be for next year's budget.
Okay.
So that would be a discussion here at this level, putting the funds in ours and asking to put the funds. So I would suggest if council decided to go that route, we'd send a resolution to the United Counties asking for them to include those funds in their next year's budget, I would assume, Monsieur Bourgon?
Well, right now, it's not in our 2020 budget. And the minimum cost for the township to do both intersection would be $15,000.
Okay.
To basically pay 50% of each.
Right.
So out of the two intersections, so basically we're paying like the amounts that we see here. Well, we're paying like for one, and the county would pay for one.
Conseiller Larrey?
Yeah, so, I mean, to be honest with you, I would like to get that done as quickly as possible, especially in the winter time, where we got these blind spots, I'll call them, as you're coming down the road in the dark. Flashing light to me makes 100% sense. I mean, I've been driving that road many times now, coming from Finch, and you come down that road and it is dark and dark and dark, especially even earlier in the days, in the winter time. You know, to me, I'm sure we have $15,000 in an asset management reserve somewhere that we can pull from to put up for the signs. There's got to be some money somewhere that we can take from, or what's it called, surplus money, or something to that effect.
Monsieur Leduc?
Asset management reserve is for an existing asset, so therefore that would not be allowable, because we don't wanna do that, it's not an existing one.
Stop signs aren't an existing asset?
No, light is not.
There's no light presently there, therefore it's a new asset, it's not a new existing
Yeah.
asset.
So if an existing light was there and needed to be replaced, then it would be, you could go to the asset management fund to replace it. But to set up something new, then you'd have to find the money elsewhere. Not to say you can't find it, but it's only if council is suggesting that we ask counties to finance 50%, then we have to have also their agreement to proceed. If council says, well, we'll assume 100% of it, and whenever you find whatever amount of money you wanna afford for any of these projects, then we can proceed with finding those savings during the year and tell council, okay, we found 16 because our tenders came in lower, whatever. It frees up some money, or maybe if there's any surplus at the end of the year, you want to commit to that. Again, it's depending if council wants to commit that 100% or at 50% from council and counties.
So, Monsieur Leduc, Monsieur Bourgon, so why are these four-way stops any different than other four-way stops in the municipality?
Well, those two intersections that were mentioned in this case are two intersections in between the county roads and Township Road.
Right.
Those are two locations that newly stop sign, well, it was installed pretty much a year ago,
Right.
those four-way stop, and since then, we haven't heard any incident at that location. And those stop signs were were installed because there was left turns, enough left turns and traffic volume at those intersections to warrant the installation of four-way stop. But since the installation, no incidents were flagged to any of the administration.
Okay. Conseiller Larrey?
And it's great that they were put in. I fully supported that idea. I think I brought it forward to put them there as well. But now, having been there for a year and having seen how dark it is in that area leading up to those stop signs, to me, it's I know we haven't had an accident in a year, knock on wood, But when you come down that road, if you're not familiar with that road and even if you are familiar, which I am, knowing that there's a stop sign, you come up to that stop sign, you can't see the stop sign. There's one street light on one corner that until you come up to it, and if you're in the snow and you know, you're not thinking about it, you're going right through that stop sign no matter what. So at least a flashing light, letting you know that it's coming in the dark, to me is imperative to public safety. So I fully support, something, whether it's on each post or one at the top from hydro, at the $15,000 range. I don't know what's easier, is there a recommendation from bylaw or fire or somebody that can let us know what the one that you see better is, even when you're driving out the trucks. I don't know which one is the more recommended one. We've got two lights up in the township at the corner of Mill Street or Castor and Mill there and Concession. Then you got one up at Church, if I'm not mistaken. No, at Craig, right? So one at Craig and then one the next stop up, and you see those far away. So if it's one up in the middle and that's the cheaper cost, then at least that's at bare minimum something that people are going to see from a distance. So I would support, was it number C, I guess it is, or
Well,
the third one down?
just to be clear, Monsieur Bourgon, are you recommending a light at these locations?
No, we're not, the administration is not recommending a light. It's just if council wish to proceed,
Then we need a resolution.
we need a resolution to be sent to a UCPR.
Okay.
And we need to keep in mind that if we look at the two major routes in our township, which is Route 400 and Route 300, there's several other four-way stops that if we implement that type of measure, well, we'll likely see other requests, so we could easily be looking at $100,000 investment to do those types of lights of all the intersections.
Conseiller Brisson and then Councillor Saucier.
For myself, I did drove to all those intersections, and for a reason or another, the one in Russell is more dark. Because I know in Sainte-Marie, or whenever you arrive on the 300, there's not as much wood around, and you see it better. And I know the other one, it make it darker. So I would be in favor as Councillor Laurent, at least having a trial, like having it installed in Russell, because I know that coming from Russell, it seemed farther on and a lot more dark. And that's where there was a lot of accident too. And I understand now that there was not been. And then to consult maybe the fire chief to see if it's better to have just one in the middle, or if it makes obstruction, that it's better on having 4 smaller ones on post. That's $4,000 difference on that amount. No big deal for that. But I think the one in Russell, I would be ready to support a resolution for this.
Good. Councillor Saucier?
Well, I would go with the cheaper route. I do see the need for the lights because I travel that road a lot, and I actually did have a close incident as I was coming up to that stop sign on St. Marie, and I stopped, I went to turn left, and the guy coming south didn't stop. So he almost went right into my right door. It's because I was turning and then he just kept coming through. So it was a really close call, and that was in the daytime. So I think at night, I do see your concern, and I would support Councilor Rand's request.
Okay. So if council wishes to go that route, then they'll have to make a demand, make a request to pass a resolution to the United Counties. So Monsieur Leduc, Monsieur Bourgon, what happens if we make a request to the United Counties turns it down? Even if council is willing to pay 100%, can we still move forward, or they still control the intersection?
They would still control the intersection, but, if we pay 100% of the costs,
There was
Yeah, we-
no objection to.
I don't foresee any objection in their part,
Okay,
but they would still, still control the intersection.
okay. Councilor Tanaski?
Monsieur Boudon, si vous pourriez juste clarifier pour moi, ce que vous avez dit tantôt, c'est que ça risque de nous coûter au-dessus de 100 000 si toutes les autres intersections qui ont le même volume de trafic ou un peu plus de volume de trafic commencent à demander pour le même traitement. C'est ça que j'ai compris, c'est
Oui,
ça?
exactement. Donc, si on goûte, si on regarde juste le segment de la route 300, ici en brun, avec l'intersection avec Saint-Pierre, Saint-Augustin, Saint-Thomas, où tu as des volumes similaires, bien là, encore une fois, donc 15 000 environ chacune des intersections, donc ce qui nous donne 45 000. Si on regarde avec la route 400, avec l'intersection à Saint-Joseph, Saint-Jacques, la moitié à Sainte-Marie, Saint-André, l'autre moitié à Prescott-Russell, donc ça regarde environ un autre 55 000, donc ce qui nous donne 100 000 d'investissement pour des potentiels, juste avec nos deux artères principales de la municipalité.
Councilor Tanaski?
Sur les intersections que vous avez énumérées, est-ce qu'il y a une différence au niveau du visuel comparé aux autres intersections desquelles on parle? Parce qu'au niveau du montant de trafic, je comprends que ça, c'est la limitation, mais au niveau de
Visibilité.
de la visibilité, voilà. Parce qu'on ça a l'air que tout le monde est d'accord sur le fait que on dirait que c'est pas aussi facile à voir.
Monsieur Bourdon?
J'ai pas fait l'analyse, moi ou quelqu'un dans mon département, pour l'analyse exactement de la visibilité pour comparer chaque intersection. J'ai seulement fait ça avant de m'emmener pour donner au conseil quand même une idée d'envergure de ce que le potentiel d'un type d'amélioration comme ça là, à toutes les intersections similaires.
Conseiller Larry?
Last thing I'll say on it is, along the same lines as Councilor Ternowski, is the visual. I believe the lighting may be different in those intersections than the two other intersections that never had a four-way stop. So the big difference is those stop signs on 300 and on 400 at the other spots have always been a four-way stop. So if you go by those, you've always driven by them as a four-way stop, regardless of whether the lighting is the same or different. These two are brand new four-way stops within the last years. And, you know, even the most seasoned person, I'm gonna use myself as an example, who knows that there's a stop sign there, you're coming down that road and you don't see it coming. And to me, you should be seeing a stop sign coming, especially on a rural road. So, to me, it's maybe I'll use this term as a no-brainer, but we need to have something more before there is something extremely serious that happens, another accident there, something to that effect, when, you know, we could have put one sign up, or we could have put one flashing light up that fixes it, or flashing it on each post again. You know, $15,000 or $16,000, I don't think is the make or break. So whether it's on each post or in the middle. And if it's just the one for now to see how that goes, and we look at it again in next year's budget for the second one, then, you know, I'll make the resolution request or the amendment request to put one in Russell to start at the 400, and you know, I'll put in there that we ask the counties for half, but that we move forward with it. We do it with one, and then we ask them for half on the back end so that we can get that one in to put in place. So.
Thank you. I'll throw in my 2 cents. I've driven that road numerous times since I have to play chauffeur to kids that have friends at Felton Crescent area and come back. I've never had an issue with it. I find it similar to any other four-way stop. That being said, you know, the risk for an accident happens at any four-way stop. You know, you can get clipped by somebody at, you know, it's a matter of drivers have to pay attention to what's on the road and the signage that's on the road. So I wouldn't support spending money on a light at a four-way stop where, you know, it is a new stop, but at what point does it continue being new? It's been there for over a year. Yes, it hasn't been there for 30 years, but it's been there for a year now. We haven't had any more problems. We rectified the situation. This just seems like overkill to me. But if council wants to make a request at the county level for some funds, then it's more than willing to do so. Conseiller Buisson?
I would just like to see the fire chief opinion on it too, because since they're working,
Well, let's be clear, from a safety point of view, we should have lights on every stop sign in the municipality. I mean, you're asking the fire chief to be put in a situation to say,
well, just their opinion, it's just as we have the opinion of Mr. Bourgon, just having the opinion of the chief.
well,
the chief,
the chief, I'm sure from a safety perspective, would say a light is required. Just like he'd say a light is required at every stop in the municipality. Is that correct, chief? So, yeah, so if the fire chiefs had an option, they'd like to see a light at every stop, correct?
I think that's correct, Mr. Mayor. Now, I don't know whether there's other options. I'll use, last week, I went through Chester Road. I mean, is there ways where we can notch the road? I mean, making somebody's attention before you get to the stop sign is actually the first time I've seen it. It's not on a county road, it's a township road, so there could be other avenues we can look at too. Should there be more lights? Honestly, at 400, some of those signs, I mean, I look at the city of Ottawa, my opinion, I think the sign should be bigger, but I guess that's the county's size of sign that they put up. And you are right, once you're up for so long, how do you correct it? We do have a few intersections, and say throughout the roads, a prime example, you have blind spots. You're coming in from the south going north, you can't see anybody coming up the west side. And those are the scary ones there, so, I mean, a flashing light, yeah, there might be a possibility for some of these ones, and they stop some of it. And if we agree that it would be a nice light, have a light at every stop sign, but the ones that have blind spots are the ones that are more serious.
So, Monsieur Bourgon, we mentioned that the lighting at the existing lighting at the intersection could be a question, in question that it's not, Councilor I made the comment, it's not as well lit as other intersections. Could it be a change in the light fixture itself at that location?
That's something that could be looked at, yes.
Okay. Chief Duhamel?
I've seen elsewhere where they have, like, for the four-way stop signs, like a couple of 100 meters before, they have a bigger sign, and they're all like fluorescent now with those new signs. But so when you're coming in there, like the white ones at night, stop ahead, stop coming up, they have those up there.
We had those, Mr. Bourgon, correct me if I'm wrong, when the signs were first installed, we had signs a few hundred meters ahead saying stop ahead.
And
That mentioned like the
New stop ahead, and then after a while, those were removed,
Well,
because
it's
again.
not new, so.
Yeah,
But they could leave them up and say, just stop ahead, like that, those signs are eye-catching, those sort of stop signs.
okay. Conseiller Larry?
The two flashing lights in the village, at Craig Street and at Mill Street, do we own those?
That's a conversation I had with the county, and we believe it would be their ownership of those lights.
Can we ask if one of those could be relocated?
If we can make the request, as council, it could be part of our resolution. too.
Rather than buying another one, we have two of them that are within, what's that, 500 feet of each other? Maybe that's a little overkill from that perspective.
Monsieur Bourgon?
That's a possibility. I'm just thinking, I don't have the breakdown of the cost, but major cost it would be actually to bring power and hydro and actually hang the light over the intersection.
It's not the light itself.
It wouldn't be like in this case, it wouldn't be the fixture of the lighting.
It's the cost of bringing hydro there. and-
The hydro, that's where we would spend most of our money in this case, but certainly something that could be looked at as well.
Councilor Tarnowski?
I just think the fire chiefs had some great ideas. Whether it's painting those lines or putting the event sign coming up, I think those are both a lot less expensive.
I don't think it was painting lines, it was notching.
No,
Notching them, sorry, yeah.
So perhaps the resolution could be sent to the United Counties stating that we still have concerns with this intersection. Could they please provide some options, have discussions with our staff on how to improve the intersection before going to a stage of investing in lights? Just a suggestion, Conseil Brisson.
That's what I was going to propose for tonight, instead of that we go. If we can have just a resolution or recommendation that they come back with some suggestion, because we had two new suggestions from the fire chief to be analyzed with United Counties, what they would prefer to, and I think either one of those are better than none. And as I just want to renchérir, that the one in South Russell, there's, as it was mentioned, there's a lot of blind spot. The other one, it's mostly filled, so you can see some traffic coming in. It's sure that there will be always some stupid that will pass, because I know at the Point Chez Carotte, just yesterday, there's somebody that never stopped. So that's like people that goes too fast, but having one of those solutions and having a report from United and from our department, our chief and fire department and roads.
Conseiller Lorrain?
And ask that this item be pulled out from the consent items, and I'll let council know now, I'm gonna make a recommendation to at least put one up in Russell at the 400, a light in the middle.
Okay, thank you. Move on to the next item. Item G, funding application, ICIP report ISSW 02-2019. The council receives the report dated November 18, 2019, authorizes the administration to submit an application for the reconstruction of the storm sewer on Craig Street. Monsieur Leduc, Monsieur Bourgon.
Donc, ce rapport pour faire part au Conseil que le dernier volet du ICIP de la province avec le fédéral est maintenant sorti. So this part of the funding is to finance it's a replacement or rehabilitation of underground infrastructure. Currently, the only project that we have planned for it would be the reconstruction and replacement of the storm sewer on Craig Street. We already planned the design and then the design engineering plans and all that stuff for next year, then construction the following year. And that's why I recommend to council to prepare the application of funding for that specific project.
Okay, parfait, merci Monsieur Bourgon. Conseiller Brisson.
Quand que tu parles de Greg, c'est de où à où pour ces choses-là?
Monsieur Bourgon.
Donc, essentiellement, ça serait à l'est de l'intersection avec McDougall, puis aller jusqu'à Mill Street, jusqu'à l'égout, dans le fond, se jette dans la rivière. Fait qu'il y aurait toute cette reconstruction-là, de ce segment-là. Puis il y a même une portion qui passe par le parc aussi. Donc, cette section-là aussi devra...
Mon autre question est savoir aussi, parce que si elle parle d'égout, tout ça, il faut tout casser l'asphalte. Est-ce que c'est de quoi, comme l'asphalte, la condition de l'asphalte dans ce coin-là, est-ce que tu bord comme très maganin, ou c'est de quoi que c'est un projet qui sera mieux d'être remis un peu plus tard en attendant que l'asphalte...
Monsieur Bourgon.
Donc, c'est un chemin de comté. Les comtés prévoyaient remplacer, de refaire le pavage de ce segment-là cette année. Puis à la demande de l'administration, puisqu'on est en train de faire notre étude de storm sewer, on leur a demandé de repousser le pavage.
OK, fait qu'il est dû pour...
Donc c'est sur leur plan au comté là, de paver ces sections-là.
Okay. C'est bon.
On a-tu un estimé du coût du projet encore?
Dans notre étude, dans notre master plan, on a environ 1 million.
Okay.
Mais avec les coûts de construction, je peux m'attendre que c'est quelque chose qui serait plus dans les envergures de 1,2, 1,3 millions.
Okay. J'étais juste curieux parce que l'estimé, on pouvait appliquer pour jusqu'à 2,5, so on voulait juste avoir une idée du coût. Okay.
Puis les comtés ont quand même leur part à payer dans les égouts. Donc, de la distance totale, il y a peut-être environ un 60% qui serait divisé aux deux paliers. Donc, notre coût direct à la municipalité serait plus dans les envergures d'un 700 000, 700 800 000.
Conseiller Brisson?
Mais cette chose-là, y avait-tu des réserves dans le budget si on fait cette année pour le former? Je sais qu'il peut y avoir du financement pour ça l'année prochaine, mais.
Monsieur Bourgeois?
Là, présentement, on a juste 25 000, je crois, là, pour faire les plans d'ingénierie au budget,
Oui.
pour le budget de 2020.
Puis si jamais le projet allait de l'avance, ça serait quelque chose qui tomberait en dessous de l'asset management.
Oui, exactement.
So, les fonds sont disponibles, mais c'est juste qu'on préfère avoir un octroi pour faire la purge.
Puis l'application c'est assez clair que ça peut pas être pour prolonger des systèmes dans des endroits non desservis.
C'est pas pour la croissance, c'est vraiment pour réparer les bobos qu'on vit.
Exactement.
Un meilleur système.
Okay, parfait. D'autres questions? Move on to the next item. Item H, notice of report about lead testing and drinking water report ISWAT 04-2019. Council receives a report dated November 18, 2019 as a notice regarding upcoming information report on lead testing and drinking water. Mr. Leduc, Mr. Bourgon, this was really in response to an article that came out about Canadian water drinking systems, correct?
Exactly. So I want to reassure members of council that we don't have any issue with our system. So I'll bring that next council meeting. I'll bring a report that said the type of testing, when we did our testing. So just to reassure council that that report's coming up and there's no issue with our system.
Okay, perfect. Next item, item I, amendment to the fire and protection agreement with the Nation Municipal Report EM 02-2019. Monsieur Leduc, fire chiefs, I'll start members council, any questions? This is pretty standard. Conseiller Brisson?
Oui, c'est juste clarifier. Ça, c'est pour l'entendre que la pointe, que c'est la nation qui va le faire.
Oui, c'est ça. Il y a juste, si vous regardez le 14F, là, ça, on n'a pas, on a pas mis la dernière fois. Ça a été restructuré pour 14F qui ont décidé. Ça a jamais été, on a toujours considéré ça 14F. Puis là, il y a une petite envie en 14F. C'est ça qu'on a pas mis. C'est vraiment pas mis la dernière fois.
C'est juste faire l'ajustement.
C'est juste faire un ajustement de ça.
OK, c'est juste
Comme ça, c'est la même protection qu'il y avait avant. C'est juste que tout le monde disait que c'est 14B, puis on l'a divisé en, je sais pas quelle année, ça a vraiment été.
OK, c'est juste cette chose-là. Ça ne change rien notre entente avec la 417.
Non.
Ça ne change
C'est
rien.
juste pour dire, c'est juste pour clarifier le petit point que vous avez, le 14.
Ouais, c'est juste le long du chemin de Limoges.
Ouais, c'est le chemin de Limoges.
Oui, c'est ça.
À l'ouest du chemin de Limoges, jusqu'à Rossman.
Ouais.
C'est un problème.
OK.
Okay, perfect. Move on to the next item, item J, Fire Department Quarterly Report, report Russ M 06-2019. Questions, comments, members of council? No, I do have one question. Chief Armstrong, for the Russell report, or the stats, if you will, I see that there's alarm system malfunction a few times. I'm just curious, is that the same, off the top of your head, is that the same address that keeps coming back and back? I know we had discussions at one point in time to say, you know, if we keep going back to the same address over and over and over, you know, do our bylaws allow to give a fine now? I believe they do, right?
That's correct, Mr. Mayor. After 3 times, we can issue them a fine.
Okay.
So unfortunately, those are,
No, it's
some of them are close.
Yeah.
But haven't hit number 3.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much. Any other questions, members of council? No? Okay. Move on to the next item. Item 12, reports from the investigator or the ombudsman. We have none. Item 13, notice of motions. We have none. Item 14, question period on meeting of the day. I see none. Item 15, resolutions. Motion that council approves all recommendations listed on the agenda under number 11, reports, department and council committees. I need a mover and seconder to put it on the table. Moved by Conseiller Brisson, seconded by Councilor Tomasky. There was a request by Conseiller Larrain to remove item F. Do we have a seconder to remove item F? Conseiller Brisson. All those in favor of removing item F? Item F is removed. So now we will vote on all of those except item F.
Can I just ask for a clarification?
Yeah.
For item A, It's not as it is written, we adjusted it for the local community. If there's no recommendation.
So the council receives report dated November 18th, 20 for information
Okay.
regarding.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So, it's moved and seconded, it's on the table, everything except, item F. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carried. We will now go to item F, which, the exact wording was the council receives report ISPW 14-2019 dated November 18th, 2019, and adopts a resolution as proposed in this report.
It's on the table.
You need a mover and seconder to put it on the table. Moved by Councilor Pinoski, seconded by Conseiller Larin. Questions, comments, amendments? Conseiller Tarnowski?
I'd like to propose that we defer this and have Chibabo come back with some additional information pertaining to other methods and just costing around.
Okay, so we have a mover with that amendment. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Conseiller Brisson. So we have that on the table. Questions on that? Conseiller Larin?
Didn't, I guess I'm gonna ask the question to Monsieur Bourgon. I mean, the recommendation from staff, if I'm not mistaken, was not to do anything. So what are they gonna come back with?
The request of Councilor Tarnowski to this amendment is to have discussions with United Counties and bring back a report on the options or the possibilities of improving that intersection without having to go at the light at this point in time. Monsieur Leduc?
Yeah, we heard about notching, we heard about bigger signs, ahead signs, we heard about potentially moving one of the two red lights in Russell, we heard about funding opportunities. So those information could be looked at and brought back to council for further discussion.
Added to this report.
See, to me, the reason why I asked for this report was because the stop signs aren't visible. Those stops are not visible. So that's why the suggestion for me was the red lights. Notching of the road isn't gonna do anything in the winter time to help with the visibility. So, for me, it was visibility that the issue, that is the issue. Not necessarily all of the other stuff that we're talking about. So, you know, I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but my problem with it is we're gonna delay, let's do some studies, let's look at this, let's look at that, and we're 2 years down the road and we don't do anything. For me, it's taking action on something that I see as an issue. So that's why I asked for this report. So unfortunately, I can't support the deferment of this item. I'd like us to decide on doing something with this item. Rec staff is recommending to do nothing.
Okay, here we have the resolution that they wanted to develop on the, I just looked up and there's already the resolution to have a light on both places.
If council decided to go with that route.
Because that's the
Right,
resolution.
but they already said the recommendation from staff was to do nothing. Unless I'm missing something. So I think they've drafted that for us,
Okay.
if we wanted to go that route. For what I've heard from council, I would take that, I'm going, unless you defer it, I'm gonna take that resolution and take out Saint Marie and just go with Russell. But
Well,
I
we
can't
have,
support the resolution of deferring.
we have a motion on the table to defer at this point in time. Questions? Councilor Sosi, then Conseiller Brisson.
Could we not request that we have the report by the next meeting? Some of the options, because like, I know those vibrations really do work, even in the winter. I've driven the one in Chesterville, and if you don't notice that, there's something wrong with you, because your whole car vibrates. So I think it would definitely make you, I just, you know, looking at costs, I totally agree with Councilor Moran, something has to be done. Because the visibility, like, people are still flying through it, I've seen it, so. Is that a possibility, to have something back with some costs, some options, what's available. I don't want it deferred till a long, long time and nothing
No.
being done, and we wait for an
Assuming
answer.
we're going- If we deferred it to the next meeting in December, is that sufficient time to have those discussions? Monsieur Leduc?
I guess one of the issues was bringing power to that area if it's visibility. So a response from hydro, if needed, could take more than 5 days to respond back. So if we commit to next meeting and we don't have an answer from hydro, then we're stuck with having to respond to you at next meeting but with no information. That's kind of why we're just hesitant in saying yes for sure on December 2nd.
I think.
We're not saying March now, we're not saying March, we're just saying for December 2nd might be an issue.
So I think at this point in time, we have the cost estimate for the flashing light option. It's very much to see with the United County level, what other options are possible. So I think that's the discussion we're looking for. You know, we already know how much it costs for flashing lights. So once you have those discussions at the county level, then you'll be able to let us know that information. So I'm fine, I prefer the next meeting. If it's the December second meeting, then, or the December 16th, I'm fine with that as well. Conseil Brisson?
Ben, c'est un peu ça que je suggérais, comme avoir, justement, ça ne va pas prendre extrêmement longtemps, comme avoir justement la pancarte Stop Coming avec le fluorescent autour, de quel coût que ça coûterait, puis voir l'opinion, puis le grooving, comment ça coûterait ces deux différentes choses-là comparées aux lumières, puis en parler avec les South Nations. Mais comme il a dit, justement, si ça va au deuxième meeting de décembre, mais que ça soit avant de prendre la décision tout de suite, de voir comment que ça marche, puis d'avoir les options.
Councillor Lorraine and Councillor Kaminsky.
Two things. The first one is if we have that information coming back to us by within the next 2 meetings, can it include implementation timelines and where staff has found the money to be able to do it? Because that's, I will reluctantly agree to the deferment if those items are included with that. So that we don't sit here and say, well, where's the money gonna come from, and well, we can't do it by this date, and whatnot. If we can get that information, then great.
Monsieur Leduc?
I have no issues with that. And to be clear, even though we don't recommend it, doesn't mean you don't want to do it.
No, I
Yeah.
never said that.
So,
And I'll hold my second one.
Okay. Councillor Kaminsky?
Juste besoin d'une clarification, Monsieur Leduc, vous avez dit il faudrait considérer les coûts d'amener l'électricité aux intersections. Est-ce que ça veut dire que les prix qui ont été mis, les estimés qui ont été mis là, n'ont pas pris ça en compte déjà? Il y avait celui à 15 000, c'était avec l'électricité. Fait que moi, j'assumais que on l'avait calculé.
Monsieur Leduc?
Moi, j'ai dit ça. M. Bourgoin m'a corrigé en me disant qu'il avait peut-être inclus les frais de connexion. Je ne sais pas si toute l'infrastructure est en place pour connecter facilement à la lumière, ça je ne sais pas. Mais s'il y avait une question, des fois on dit que c'est rien, puis tailler plus sur site, puis finalement on apprend qu'il y en a 10, 15, 20 000 avec la vête hydro, ça peut facilement jouer dans les chiffres assez rapidement. Après un poteau, on sait comment ça coûte. Donc, je veux juste mettre en garde que s'il y a des confirmations à avoir, qu'il pourrait avoir des confirmations, puis si je ne les ai pas par le 2 décembre, ben je sais pas, je dois attendre. C'est ça mon intention de répondre à la question.
Dans ce cas ici, je pense que les deux premières options, c'est solar, puis la troisième option était électricité. So there's 2 solar options and 1 hydro. So, but the hydro one is the cheapest, as opposed to the solar ones.
It is cheapest if it's included, but if it's not included to bring the wire, it changes everything. So I just wanted to clarify that. I'm good if we're deferring and have time to look at it. I just wanted to just clarify that.
Okay, so we have a mover and a seconder to defer it at one of the 2 meetings in December, having the suggestions from Conseil that includes that we have the information he's looking for, implementation
Timeline.
timeline, and where the financing would come
Options,
from.
yeah.
Okay, so if that's, no further questions on this, I'll call for all those in favor? All those opposed? Carried. So this will be deferred. Okay, and with that, we'll take a 10-minute break. We'll be back. Okay?
Bylaws.
Yeah, but I'm calling break.
Oh, remember the bylaws?
No, 10-minute break.
Okay.
Well, we'll be back at, well, we thought my bank.
Oh, I actually got over 15 different things. Sorry.
To item 16, bylaws. Motion that council approve bylaws 2019-165 to 2019-167 inclusively for first, second, and third reading as listed on the agenda. Need a mover and a seconder. Put on the table, moved by Conseil Buisson, seconded by Councilor Tonoski. Questions? All those in favor? All those opposed? Carried. Item 17, new business reports, we have none. Item 18, we have quite a few now. So, the first item under myself was, we all received correspondence, from Mr. Trevor Dubois, who was looking for a letter of support from, council in order to get a liquor license for the event he'll be, hosting. I just wanted to suggest that we do give a letter of support. I was looking for council's feedback, if associate.
And it was also to move the venue, right, because they used to have it at the Legion, and it's just too small now, and they want to move it to the arena.
Yeah, in this case, I believe they've booked the hall for the arena. They were not asking for the hall for free. They were just asking for a support letter in this
Yeah.
case.
Yeah,
So
so I'm
that's-
totally in support of this.
Okay, everybody's okay with that?
Yep.
Okay, so Madame Guitar, do you need anything else from council to send a letter of support?
No, we could probably draft a letter and send a formal resolution. So that's what they really need to apply for the liquor license, the resolution from council. So I can ask Madame Camille tomorrow to draft us a resolution.
So Madame can do that. So we need pretty much that resolution now.
Sure.
You'll have it December 2nd.
When is this
It's
thing?
coming up.
Can we just,
It's gonna be too late because they need 31 days to apply for liquor license with, if they want to attach a resolution.
okay, so can we, on va continuer ici.
Can we not just direct,
Yeah.
can we not just direct the mayor to sign a letter of support for it?
Well, it's in this case, the liquor license, looks
Yeah,
for
with
resolution
AGCO,
from
they
council.
need the resolution stamped from council.
Okay, so can we, we'll continue draft by going through the other items if staff are able to quickly put a resolution together that we can look at? What the resolution essentially would be that, how does a resolution?
It needs to read that their activity has a municipal significance.
Okay.
And it does.
So, can we,
I'll say that.
can we pass a resolution that says we approve the writing, the drafting of this letter?
And in
With
your.
all the proper language that needs to be in it,
Yeah.
and then you can go ahead and get the letter signed by the mayor? Like, is that what it needs to
Monsieur
be?
Leduc?
If they need a resolution, it's not a letter. So they need council to formulate the resolution, council to pass a resolution, so the clerk can send off a.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll go through the rest of the items. Well, if we need to, we'll take a
Yeah.
break afterwards, and,
Just in case, because I remember in the past, they used to need that for when they wanted to get a festival event license. That doesn't exist anymore, but I remember, if you recall, the fair would come here and ask a resolution from council, and this was why, because it means that there is a municipal significance. For the fair, they were getting a rebate on the price of the license. For these, for this group, it's because they're allowed to do a fundraising event even though they're not a nonprofit.
non-for-profit.
It's a private group,
Yeah,
so they need that from council.
okay. So, let's continue down the items. I'm not sure if staff are able to track down something, but if we need to take a 5-10 minute break after the items, then we'll take a 5-10 minute break. Okay? Item 18B, snow clearing on roads. I got email shared with the administration today. I got a local business on Notre Dame that was, thought there was had concerns in regards to the snow on the side of the, like, in between the sidewalk and the street where cars tend to park, had issues that their snow wasn't being cleared there. And based on the information I received, and that the administration informed the resident that normally we don't snow clear until there is a certain amount of snow in the street. I mentioned to the resident, priority for the administration and council is the streets be cleared, the sidewalks be cleared. While the snow has to go somewhere, it goes in the middle, and sometimes that's where the accumulation. I said I'd bring it up to council. I don't know if council is fine with what we've had in place all these years, or are we looking to increase the level of service, and what the impact of such an increase would be. Conseiller Brisson and Councilor Saucier.
Mais je pensais que quand ça vient à un certain montant, que là, la municipalité l'enlevait, pas juste la quantité de neige, parce que qui est dans le chemin, mais quand ça devient à certaines quantités dans le côté, je sais que j'ai vu qu'il y a des places que le veut pour me stationner en avant de chez les Rémouilles, une change de pick-up de choses. C'est pour ça que je me demandais justement.
Monsieur Bourgon.
Donc, effectivement, aussi, missionnaire. Donc, effectivement, c'est tout dépendant d'une grosse bordée de neige ou une accumulation de plusieurs petites neiges. Donc, c'est ce qu'on se fie un peu à des tempêtes qui seraient autour d'une vingtaine de centimètres ou un cumulatif avant de faire ces opérations-là. Soit, juste pour donner une idée au Conseil, l'an dernier, dans la dernière saison, on l'a fait 4 fois. La saison auparavant, c'était 5 fois. Donc, c'est normalement à peu près le nombre de fois là, durant l'hiver on fait ce type d'opération-là. Puis si on fait nos 4 villages, on en a à peu près pour une semaine.
OK. Puis le coût associé à chaque fois qu'on décide d'éclairer une rue?
Ben, le prix varie tout dépendant de exactement ce qu'on fait, mais typiquement un soir, comme faire en gros Notre-Dame, c'est environ une soirée où ça coûte 10 000 $. Juste l'opération d'un soir. Parce que c'est quand même une équipe complète, plus on loue, on fait appel à des camions d'autres compagnies.
Parce que juste pour être clair, j'ai passé sa rue Notre-Dame aujourd'hui spécifiquement en train de regarder ça. Oui, il y a des sections où il y a un petit peu de neige, mais c'est pas une grosse accumulation by any means. Councilor Janowski?
Ben, juste confirmer qu'on suit un standard qui est dans toutes les villes. Au niveau d'une accumulation, puis quand est-ce qu'elle se fait carrer, c'est ça?
Ben, dans le fond, ça, c'est un standard qui est un peu établi de façon... c'est à l'interne, c'est quelque chose qu'on pratique depuis des années. Étant donné que c'est pas où les voitures se promènent, où les piétons se promènent, il n'y a pas de loi de la province. Donc, il n'y a pas un standard précis comme qu'on a à suivre pour les routes. Donc, c'est vraiment basé plus sur une certaine accumulation.
Monsieur Leduc?
Il faut se rappeler que c'est notre propre équipe qui fait ça. Donc, souvent, ce qui arrive, c'est qu'ils ont fait peut-être 2 jours consécutifs, 3 jours consécutifs d'une tempête, puis ils vont faire un autre soir extra. C'est encore d'autres surtemps. Donc, puis il y a le temps de machinerie, mais c'est beaucoup de surtemps, puis la fatigue d'une équipe, il faut qu'il y ait des pauses. Donc, c'est impossible de penser qu'ils vont nettoyer les rues une journée, puis le lendemain, ils vont faire dans un soir avant la neige comme s'ils n'avaient jamais eu. On n'a pas une équipe pour supporter ce niveau de service-là. Donc, si le Conseil va aller plus loin que ça, ça va nécessiter définitivement d'autres temporaires pour assurer qu'on respecte les délais dans tes quarts de 12 heures ou 15 heures dans tes chiffres, en 2. Donc, il y a des normes maximum qui peuvent travailler. Donc, si on va là, on entre dans un terrain qui se sent.
Puis j'ai eu des discussions avec le département aujourd'hui aussi que parce que en avant de certaines business, c'est tout clair. So, j'ai demandé la question à Mme Babin aujourd'hui. J'ai dit pourquoi il y en a que c'est tout clair en avant, puis c'est les business qui ont décidé de nettoyer en avant pour leurs clients. So. Monsieur Bourgon?
Ben, si je pourrais ajouter au point de M. Leduc, étant donné que la rue Castor, Craig Street, Notre-Dame, c'est des routes très, très passantes, on doit attendre la nuit pour le faire. Il y a d'autres sections, comme je pense au chemin Limoges, à Limoges, Marionville, il y a pas de trafic. Donc, ces sections-là, on peut se permettre de le faire le jour. Donc, ça fait une grosse différence dans nos opérations.
Councillor Sosi?
I understand from the perspective of the businesses because, I mean, I remember I used to go to Curves and I was at yoga last week and really, I couldn't even park in front of the business because of the snow being mounted. So, and it used to be really bad along the main drag. So if that's where the parking is, it should be kind of clear because you can't even see the lines or anything, so.
But let's be clear. Are we providing parking for that business? Like, it's street parking, not necessarily for that business. But again, you know, individual businesses that have parking lots take care of their own shoveling, right? I mean.
But this is the road, like if I can't park anywhere along the road to go to the gym, say the gym or Beyond Fitness, if I can't park there and the whole way down the road, it was full of snow, it was scraping the bottom of your car, there's ruts and I
So,
think.
well, that's why I'm bringing it to the table, to see if council wants to entertain, because as Monsieur Bourgon and Monsieur Leduc said, there would be significant costs if we decided we wanted to get rid of the snow almost immediately after a snowfall in those areas.
But if you can't just plow the.
To where?
To where?
Right?
To where?
It has to be blown.
On the sidewalk?
Yeah, I mean, that's what's happening, right, is if you're plowing the street, it's going in this section, and if you're going on the sidewalk, it's going on this section. That's the middle ground. So if you push that, either you're pushing it onto the sidewalk or you're pushing it back onto the street. So is a priority for this council to have your streets and sidewalks plowed, or is it to plow the parking on top of that? And that's why I'm bringing it to table, to have that discussion with council. Conseiller Buisson?
Je comprends que ce ne soit pas fait tout de suite le lendemain, mais la procédure comme c'est là, c'est de comme combien de neige, y a-tu comme tu en vas puis dire ok ben c'est à 6 pouces, à 1 pied, y a-tu une règle comme ça? C'est quoi la procédure comme c'est là?
De façon générale, s'il y a une bordée de neige de 20 cm, ça serait suffisant là, pour enclencher ces opérations-là. Puis sinon, plein de petites accumulations, on va se fier à ce que le superviseur, les patrouilles de la rue vont signaler comme banc de neige ou accumulation sur le long de la rue.
Oui, mais lui, le patrouilleur, quand c'est juste des petites accumulations, mais que ça fait une grosse, là.
Non, ben c'est ça. Éventuellement, ben là, ça va être suffisant pour qu'on déclenche l'opération.
Mais c'est ça, je me demandais, comme pour déclencher, c'est combien?
Ça serait, ben c'est comme je viens de mentionner ça, au-delà de 20 cm.
20 cm.
Mais si on pense à comme cette semaine, ben, il annonce ça va fondre.
I mean, it's winter time, it's inconvenient for everybody. I think that's fair to say. Conseiller Larin?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had any concerns raised to me over the last few years of the snow removal. In fact, to be honest, in the last few years, I haven't had many complaints over the snow plowing. I think the sidewalks have been done to the superior satisfaction, I will say, to people's expectations, I guess. And the roads have been done fine, and the snow removal, I think has been done fine as well. And I'm not ready to increase the level of service for the snow removal. I think I'm fine with the way staff are doing it, and if there's, I'm sure that you'll use your common sense. If we get to a certain amount, then it gets removed. But I'm not gonna ask for additional snow removal at this point.
Thank you. Other questions, comments? No, I don't see any changes being proposed at this time, so we'll move on to the next item. Councillor Tarnowski for the library strat plan.
Thank you. I just wanted to let everyone know that on Thursday, November 14th, the library presented the strategic plan to the public. There was a few people there, and the focus, so in addition to the discussion of the new strategic plan, which was well received, there were quite a few questions pertaining to the Antrim location and what's moving forward with that. So I just wanted to pass that on to members of council and to staff. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next item, item D, Conseil Brisson for fundraiser 50-50. Limoges.
Là, c'est le comité de récréation qui ont parti depuis le mois d'octobre d'une loterie que c'est sur Internet pour faire une levée de fonds pour leurs activités. Puis c'est Limoges 50-50. Puis justement, c'est 50% va comme c'est $2 par semaine. Puis là, tu es attribué un numéro pour l'année. Mais là, si tu prends juste pour la semaine, puis ton numéro sort, ben là, tu ne gagnes pas gros lot, c'est remis dans le jackpot pour le prochain. Fait que comme c'est là, dans les 4 semaines qu'ils ont eu, ça a abrugé autour de $100-150 qu'ils rapportaient. Je viens de checker, là, comme c'est là, ça dit « We're currently not available in your area », là, mais ils avaient dit que ça va marcher, là. Fait que j'ai pas... C'est juste laisser savoir qu'ils faisaient ce tirage-là dedans.
Merci beaucoup. Item E, for December 29th, okay, perfect, Conseil Larin.
So I just pulled these up, so I'm just reading straight off of the website or the Facebook or whatever it is. So there's two events coming up before the end of this month, November 29th and November 30th. So November 29th, there's a trivia night in Russell at the Russell, upstairs at the Russell Arena. It's in support of the Russell Fire Department. I believe it's for equipment or something to that effect. It's being put on by the Russell Trivia Group. Last check that I had received was it was over 50% sold out, so I'm sure that they're going to do a fantastic job and raise lots of money for the Russell Fire Department. So if you have time and money to burn, that's the location. And then the next night, I believe it's at the Emblem Community Center, is the event called Hairspray Community Roast of Mary Claire Ivansky. And I believe that's being put on by the Kin Club of Russell, if I'm not mistaken. Again, another fantastic event for the community. And funds raised there are going to be a future potential Township Aquatic Center. So, and I apologize in advance, but both of those events I'm in Montreal for a hockey tournament, so I will be unable to attend. So I hope everyone who attends has a great time.
Thank you so much. Hopefully when I get roasted next year, you'll have the same nice comments to say.
Oh, I will be there. And
roasting?
Oh, please put me on the agenda to be one of the roasters.
Not my call, but I'm sure a few people have already put their names forward. Monsieur Leduc?
Monsieur le Conseil, is there any detail regarding for what cause for the Russell Fire Department? I'd like to know what's going on.
Monsieur Leduc, Mr. Armstrong, do you have the details? I believe they're in regards to some screens or pads.
Yeah.
Chief Armstrong?
Yes, just to elaborate on it, it was fairly quick with the trivia night. There was one being planned without us knowing. It was going to be a surprise. So in partnership to make it worthwhile, we decided to look at getting tablets for inside our vehicles and have approached trivia night to put the money towards that.
Okay. The tablets are in what function?
The tablets that you put in the truck for GPS, your forms, your database, all that kind of stuff. So it's something that we hadn't put in our capital expenditure, so it's something that we had to come up with fairly quick to put the money towards, and would be a great resource at the end. So.
Perfect, thank you very much. Next item, item G, the Christmas parades. We have our Christmas parades are actually coming up this weekend. So on Saturday the 23rd, Chief Duhamel, I believe it's at 6:30 p.m. start time.
Yes, it is.
And unfortunately, I will not be there this year. It's the same night as the Warden's Banquet at Chutablando. I have a heavy foot, but I don't think I could make it there and back in time. And the Russell Parade, 1 p.m. start time in Russell, is it starting again at the high school?
St. Thomas.
At St. Thomas, it's starting there, and always both events are put on, and job well done by our fire departments to help put those on, so thank you very much. As well, just for everybody, the 7th of December is the Limoges parade, and that's at 6:30 p.m. As well. Okay. Next item, we'll add item.
Was there
Did
an
I skip
item?
one? Oh, excuse, F. I skipped one, my apologies.
Okay.
Conseiller Buisson, item F, there was for the food drive.
It's organized by the Optimist Club of Ambrim, but it's December 1st à 11h, il y a un dîner au Chevalier de Colombe, puis à midi, il commence de faire le porte-à-porte dans tout le village, fait que juste pour que le monde le sache, tout ça. Il cherche toujours des bénévoles, parce que je veux pas, le village grossit, fait qu'il y a plus de routes à faire. Puis les rangs sont grands, ça fait que, mais on ramasse d'habitude, parce que là, cette année, il y a au-dessus de 90 familles qu'on ramasse les denrées. C'est le club qui rassemble pour des boîtes pour aller les redistribuer dans 2 semaines après. C'est beaucoup d'ouvrage, ça fait que la seule chose qu'on demande, c'est soyez généreux, puis que quand il y a cogne, puis qu'il y en a d'autres qui le font, parce que la semaine passée, il y avait d'autres qui avaient passé dans le village, mais c'est une activité pour aider ceux qui sont en besoin.
Parfait, merci beaucoup. Puis on va ajouter un dernier item H, our Community Improvement Plan Open House. That's for the 2 sections. The study areas are the 417 Industrial Park and our Emblem Business Park. I know that our community improvement plan in our villages has been very successful, and we're looking to expand that, so we're looking for our business feedback in those areas. Madame Tremblay, tu voulais-tu dire un petit peu plus d'informations là-dessus?
C'est mercredi le 27 novembre de 5 à 7 à l'hôtel de ville.
Parfait. So Wednesday, November 27th from 5 to 7 p.m. here at Town Hall. All right, that's it for number 18. Number 19, public consultation hearings. We have none. Item 20, closed session.
Mr. Mayor,
Wait.
do you want to come back to number 18?
Oh, yes. We'll take a, let's take a 5-10 minute break.
I drafted something, so maybe Ms.
Perfect.
Guitar can tell if that's what they were looking for. If,
Okay, wait. Allez-y, Madame Camille Laflamme.
From what I can see, it's just a resolution, and they want the wording that you said, municipal significance
That's right.
for their event to be held at the arena, right?
That's right.
Okay, so I just wrote, motion that council supports the request letter dated October 29, 2019, received from Ashley and Trevor Dubois to hold their annual Christmas fundraiser event entitled the Annual Russell Ugly Christmas Party on December 20th, 2019 at the hall at the Russell Arena, since this activity has a municipal significance, and for them to be able to obtain a special events permit for this event.
Parfait. Correct avec
Yep,
ça?
it should be okay.
So, faut qu'on suspende les rules of procedure pour le faire passer?
If you want to add
Okay,
this.
so I'll ask for, to suspend the rules of procedure, so I need a mover and a seconder, moved by Councilor Tomasky, seconded by Councilor Saucier. All those in favor of suspending the rules? All those opposed? We have 2/3, so the rules are suspended. So now I need a mover and a seconder to put that resolution on the table, moved by Councilor Lorraine, seconded by Councilor Saucier. Questions?
Could we register a vote on that one?
Registered vote, sure. Question, Councilor Saucier?
I was just wondering if we should include what the charity event is, like it's for Brain Matters?
Madame
Because
Guiton?
that is community significance, it's a resident, you know.
Yeah,
just
it's
to
a
make that-
resident, but Brain Matters, they don't do it anymore, so I'm not too sure if you should mention that.
We'll just, I think it's specific enough, a resolution.
Yeah, I
that-
think so, I think it should be okay.
Yeah, okay, so we have a request for a registered vote, so I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carried. Thank you very much, everyone. Merci pour avoir tapé ça, Sylvie. We'll move on to the next item, closed session. Oops. Motion to move into closed session at the hour of 8:04 PM to address matters pertaining to, item one, proposer pending acquisition land in Emblem under section 2C, a proposer pending acquisition or disposition land by the Municipality Local Board. Item two, update on a proposer pending acquisition and disposition of land in Emblem under same section 2C, a proposer pending acquisition or disposition of land by the Municipality Local Board. And item three, the closed minutes of the regular council meeting dated November 4th, 2019. Need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councilor Panofsky, seconded by Conseil Brisson. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carried. We are now in closed session. Thank you very much.